The Adventures of Captain Hunab Ku. Alpha Centauri, The Return Home. This is a dramatic fictional story about a man, part human, part robot who is one of the strongest, most trained and intelligent soldiers, considered by many to be a legend, who is part of the army, admired by many and hated by others, especially by the army commanders who see him as a danger in his desire to have all the power and impose his wishes on all the soldiers and inhabitants of the colony. Each night, as the moons of Uxmal 9 hung low and heavy in the sky, Hunab Ku trained his forces harder. He taught them not only to fight, but to think like soldiers of destiny, to believe that their cause was righteous and inevitable. The day of the launch came sooner than many believed possible. As the serpent star rose from the cracked plains, dust and lightning swirling in its wake, a new age was born. Captain Hunab Ku, standing at the helm in his evolved rhotic armor, watched the cursed world shrink beneath him. But before setting course for Alpha Centauri, he sent a single, powerful transmission across the stars, a warning, one that bypassed every military firewall, every government restriction, broadcasting into the homes and streets of every colony. I was forged in exile, tempered by betrayal. I return not as a soldier, but as a reckoning. You wanted control. You shall have chaos. I am Captain Hunab Ku, and I have come for my justice. Panic spread like wildfire through the corrupt elite. They scrambled to prepare their defenses, but deep down, they knew, Hunab Ku was not a man they could kill. He was a storm they could only hope to survive. And somewhere, deep within the stars, the serpent star burned its path toward them, unstoppable, inevitable, carrying the fury of a world betrayed. Hunab Ku stood at the edge of the Bastion's command platform, staring into the dark horizon where massive electrical storms gathered. Somewhere beyond those endless black clouds, the ancient artifact waited. Silas Reck approached, his long coat fluttering in the wind. "They are ready," Silas said, tapping a small data module against his palm. Mira cracked an old Directorate star map. It points to the Chasm of Souls, about 200 kilometers east, deep beneath the rift. That's where they buried it. Hunab Ku nodded grimly. He had assembled a specialized team for this mission, only the best, those he trusted with his life. The journey would take them into the heart of the Oblivion Wastes, a region so corrupted by ancient wars and alien energies that few who entered ever returned. Talia Wren, Boric Thane, Mirabeau, Orash, and Silas Reck would join him. Their objective: retrieve the artifact before the Directorate's purge squads could find it, and before the planet's own Dark Guardians awoke. The journey to the Chasm of Souls, the trip across the wastes, was brutal. The landscape was a shattered nightmare, blackened ground cracked open by ancient tectonic scars, rivers of molten metal flowing through valleys, and sky worms gliding silently overhead, their massive bodies sparking with bioelectricity. Hunab Ku's armor absorbed the worst of the environmental hazards, but even he felt the oppressive pressure of the alien atmosphere in this cursed land. More than once, they were forced to fight off mutated beasts, creatures twisted by the planet's wild energies into horrific forms. One such battle nearly cost them Boric Thane when a massive bone serpent ambushed them from beneath the surface. Only a combined assault, with Talia's sniper shots and Hunab Ku's kinetic gauntlet, brought the monster down. At night, around dim fires, they spoke little. Each of them knew the deeper they traveled, the stranger the world became. Reality itself seemed to bend in the wastes, whispers on the wind, shadows moving where none should exist. Finally, after 6 grueling days, they reached the chasm. It was a gaping wound in the earth, stretching for miles, descending into pure darkness. Ancient alien structures jutted from the cliff walls, monoliths of obsidian and silver, pulsing faintly with a heartbeat older than human memory. A ruined bridge spanned part of the chasm, crumbling but still passable. Beneath it, the abyss howled with unseen horrors. Mira activated a scanning drone. Her eyes widened in disbelief as the readings came through. This place. It's not just a tomb, she whispered. It's alive. Silas frowned. The artifact isn't just buried. It's protected. Something down there is still awake. Hunab stepped onto the bridge, his armor humming with suppressed energy. We move. Now. Before they know we're here. Descent into darkness. The team repelled into the chasm, their descent illuminated only by the pale glow of ancient lights embedded in the stone. They reached a massive gateway, carved with runes no human could decipher. As they approached, the ground trembled. From the darkness emerged figures, not beasts, but ancient sentinels. 7 towering constructs, forged from alien metal and bone, their hollow eyes burning with cold blue fire. Without hesitation, Hunab raised his arm, and his gauntlet transformed into a plasma blade. We hold the line. He barked. The battle was chaos, flashing steel, searing energy, the screams of dying machines. The sentinels were relentless, their blows capable of shattering rock, but Hunab and his team fought like demons. Orosh grappled with one sentinel, ripping it apart with brute force. Talia's sniper fire felled another with precise shots to its exposed core. Still, they were being overwhelmed. Hunab realized brute force alone wouldn't win this fight. He spotted an ancient console near the gate, half buried under rubble. Mira. The console, hack it. Now. While the others held the enemy at bay, Mira raced to the device, her fingers dancing across the alien interface. Sparks flew. The ground shuddered. And then, a deep, resonant sound filled the chasm, vibrating through their very bones. The sentinels froze mid-attack. Their bodies dissolved into mist, leaving only silence. The gateway slowly creaked open, revealing a vast chamber beyond. Floating at the center of it all was the artifact, a black sphere encased in shifting energy, symbols orbiting it like tiny stars. It pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to synchronize with Hunab's heartbeat. He stepped forward, drawn by an unseen force. Behind him, Mira whispered, almost in awe, "What is it?" Hunab reached out his hand, and the moment his fingers brushed the artifact, visions slammed into his mind, civilizations rising and falling. Endless wars. The manipulation of time and matter. The power to either rebuild worlds or erase them from existence. He staggered but held his ground. He understood now, this was no mere weapon. It was a key. A key to change the fate of Xibalba 9. And the entire Alpha Centauri system. But as he gripped the artifact, alarms screamed through the chasm. Red lights flared across the ancient walls. They were no longer alone, the Directorate had found them. And they were coming with everything they had. The fall of silence. As the alarms howled and the ancient walls lit up with crimson light, Hunab instinctively tightened his grip on the artifact. He could feel its power thrumming under his armor, seeping into the very air around him. Behind him, Talia Wren pulled her rifle to her shoulder. Multiple hostiles inbound. Dropships coming in fast. Warwick Thane was already rigging explosives around the gate. "We blow the entrance and trap them down here," he shouted over the rising din. "No," Hunab said, his voice cutting through the panic like steel. "If we trap ourselves, we die here. We fight our way out." The first Directorate forces hit the ground around the chasm moments later, sleek soldiers in shimmering exosuits, armed with plasma carbines and guided drones. Their armor bore the black sigil of the Sovereign Directorate, a clenched fist surrounded by chains. They came in waves, descending like locusts. Hunab-Ku moved like a force of nature. With the artifact secured within a magnetic field generated by his armor, he waded into battle, his plasma blade carving arcs of burning light through the enemy ranks. His team followed. Talia dropped soldiers with precise headshots even as they cloaked themselves in active camouflage. Orosh tore through their lines with brutal efficiency, using a scavenged alien warhammer. Mira hacked Directorate drones midair, turning them against their former masters. Silas laid traps and guided their retreat with cold, tactical brilliance. Borik's explosives bought them precious minutes, collapsing the bridges behind them and forcing the Directorate squads into a bottleneck. But it wasn't enough. Through the smoke and chaos, a towering figure emerged, clad in black armor lined with pulsing red veins of alien energy. A Sovereign Inquisitor. The Directorate's most feared enforcers. Enhanced with forbidden biotech, the Inquisitors were engineered to kill rebels and exiles without mercy or hesitation. This one carried a heavy graviton lance, and when it fired, entire sections of the chasm wall exploded into nothingness. Hunab-Ku charged. The Inquisitor met him head-on, their collision shaking the ground. Blow after blow was exchanged, kinetic blade against graviton lance. Sparks and plasma bursts tore the air apart. The Inquisitor spoke through a distorted voice modulator. "You will surrender the artifact. Your rebellion ends tonight." Hunab-Ku snarled, "I don't surrender. Ever." Drawing on the artifact's latent energy, Hunab-Ku unleashed a surge through his armor, amplifying his strength. With a final, earth-shaking strike, he shattered the Inquisitor's lance and drove his blade deep into the enemy's core. The Inquisitor collapsed with a deafening crash. The team didn't hesitate. They fled into the deeper tunnels as Directorate reinforcements swarmed into the chasm, chasing them. The revelation. Hours later, deep within a hidden ravine carved by ancient water flows, the team finally stopped to regroup. They were battered, bloodied, but alive. Mira set up a shielded perimeter while Silas checked their dwindling supplies. Orosh stood guard, brooding silently as always. Hunab-Ku sat apart, the artifact floating before him. It responded to his presence, casting shifting holographic images into the air, maps of worlds, diagrams of alien structures, ancient battles fought in forgotten eras. Mira approached, hesitant. "I've run preliminary scans," she said quietly. "The artifact. It's some kind of ancient AI. But it's more than just a machine. It can manipulate gravitational fields, bend time in localized zones, even terraform planetary ecosystems." Hunab-Ku watched as the hologram shifted again, showing Alpha Centauri's colonies under siege by Directorate fleets, civilians enslaved, freedom crushed. Myra's voice lowered. "With it, you could destroy them. Tear down their ships, collapse their fortresses. Or rebuild what they broke." Hunab-Ku clenched his fists. He could feel the temptation pulling at him, the raw, absolute power. But he remembered why he had fought in the first place. Not for vengeance. For freedom. "No tyrants," he said aloud. "Not even us." Mira smiled faintly. "Then we have a chance." But even as hope flickered in their hearts, the artifact's energy pulse grew stronger, and somewhere deep within the labyrinthine tunnels of Shabalba 9, something ancient stirred. Something that had been waiting for the artifact to awaken. Not all enemies wore Directorate armor. Some had been here far longer, older than humanity's first steps into the stars. Hunab stood, rallying his team. "The war isn't over," he said. "It's only just begun."